I have a really, really big question for Rob Grant or Rob Brant. Do you not know how to dodge or how to block or how to avoid a 1-2? Because Rob Brant literally got hit with like 565,000 1-2s. Like one of the most basic shots in boxing. The 1-2, the classic. You know, throw a little jab and then throw a straight right hand down the pipe and then follow it up with a right hand. No, throw a left hand, then follow it up with a right hand. Like literally, Braehmer landed like 5,000 1-2s. He couldn't miss Rob Brant. Rob Brant is no Jamal Charlo. Rob Brant is no Errol Spence Jr. At all. At all. He doesn't have that dog in him. Jamal Charlo, Errol Spence Jr. have dogs in them. Rob Brant, I'm sorry, but he didn't have a dog. Like, he went to another man's country, fought in another man's backyard, and he didn't bring the fight to Braehmer. Juergen Braehmer. He didn't bring the fight to him. Juergen Braehmer was the one coming forward. Juergen Braehmer was the one being aggressive. Juergen Braehmer was the one backing him up. And I feel bad for his trainer, Derek James, because Derek James is a good trainer. And he was trying, he was begging Rob Brant. He was begging him, dude, be more aggressive. Come on, you can't. Because he was telling him, yo, you keep going backwards. You keep trying to get away from him. You have to come forward. You have to let your hands go, son. And he was trying, Derek James is an underrated trainer. He's a good trainer. He tried his ass off to get Rob Brant or Robert Brant to do it. But Robert Brant was just reluctant, I can't pronounce that word, but he just wasn't willing enough to actually do it. It was almost like he was intimidated by Braehmer. Braehmer, like I said, was literally, every time he threw that 1-2, he would, knock Robert Brant's head back. Robert Brant looks so weak compared to, like, Juergen Braehmer looked like the much bigger and physically stronger guy out of the two. Like, Brant just came across as like a weakling. And it kind of like, it's kind of sucks because, I was thinking, maybe since he's the only American, he might be the Andre Ward, because in the original Super 6 tournament, Andre Ward was that unknown American, and he like shocked the world and then ended up winning the tournament and beat all the top guys, right? Well, Robert Brant wasn't that guy. He didn't turn out to be that guy. He turned out to be the poor man's version of Andre Durrell, because I think Andre Durrell's a better talent than him. I really wasn't impressed with the guy, man. I'm being honest, guys. You know how I am. I keep it real. And I guess this is because, a lot of people, I remember when Erickson Lubin fought Jamal Charlo. A lot of people were saying, yo, Lubin ain't ready. He got like 19 fights. He's a kid. And I was going around praising Lubin, saying he was going to school Charlo. Well, I guess now you could say the same thing about Robert Grant, can you? Because Robert Brant was fighting nothing but bums leading up to this fight. This was his biggest test. And he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready because he fought 22 bums. And he was fighting these easy level guys. And he went in there with a guy who was much older than him, but was and to be honest, he wasn't the best guy in the division at all. But he was a guy who had experience and who actually fought other, he's fought other people who were at least names. And that experience was just too much for Robert Brant. Robert Brant just couldn't overcome that experience. He just got dogged. Like, Juergen Braehmer just dogged him and beat him and bullied him. So there you go. Just like people say, yo, Lubin wasn't ready. Well, Brant wasn't ready. I don't see him ever becoming a champion anytime soon. I mean, if he keeps fighting that way, Chris Eubank Jr. will murder this guy because he doesn't have an engine. Like, he wasn't aggressive enough. That was his biggest issue. That's why I felt bad for Derek James. Derek James was trying to get this man to let his hands go. Yo, he was begging him, please, let your hands go, man. He was telling him, Derek James, you got to be aggressive, dude. You got to be aggressive. You have to be aggressive. You have to take the fight to Braehmer. You cannot go to another man's country and not take the fight to him and he brings the fight to you. You cannot do that. And people might say, oh, well, it was because he wasn't ready. He was in another man's country. So what? Errol Spence Jr. had the same amount of fights that Robert Brant had, and he went to the UK and he had everybody booing him and he beat him. Errol Spence Jr. was a better talent, you know. Terence Crawford, when he first won his first belt, he went to Glasgow. Remember that? To Scotland. And he fought Terence Crawford. He fought Ricky Burns. Everybody was booing him. It's not about being out of your comfort zone. It's about if you have the ability. That's what it is, talent. If Robert Brant had the ability and actually had the talent, he would have won this fight. He would have won this fight against Braehmer. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't. He didn't have the ability and didn't have the talent. I really wasn't impressed with him. I mean, he was so easy. Like, it was just amazing to me how easy and stationary this guy was. He was getting hit with, he was trying to move, don't get me wrong, but he was getting hit with that same classic 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. It was like he couldn't miss it. Braehmer could not miss Robert Brant with that 1-2. It was like easy work for Braehmer. And Braehmer was the one bringing the fight. Like, again, if you go to another man's country, you have to bring the fight to him. You gotta go to him. You can't just let this guy dog you like that, man. There was no way he was going to win. It was like he was thinking like, oh, I'm just going to outbox him. But the problem was when you try to outbox a dude, you also have to be offensive. You can't just pull a Willie Monroe and shit. Or a Hughie Fury. And it wasn't like he was even that good at outboxing the dude because he was getting hit with that 1-2 all night. Like, did somebody not teach Robert Brant how to, you know, avoid that 1-2? Because the dude was getting hit with that 1-2 all night, dude. It's ridiculous. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. No head movement at all. He even got hit with hooks, like little short hooks. Like, again, he just came across as a very skinny, very weak super middleweight. Maybe he's just not big enough. Maybe he has to go, because I heard he was saying he's going to go back to 160. Maybe he's just not big enough, man. Maybe that's just it. He's just not big enough. Like, he looked like a weakling in there, man. Straight up, like. He didn't look like he had the man strength to like deal with Braehmer. I don't know where he goes from here, man. He already lost. You know, again, man, I keep it real. Some people might not like this because, you know, I keep it honest, but I wasn't impressed with Brant, man. I was actually more impressed with Braehmer. And to be honest, I've never even been high on Braehmer. I just thought he was like some average fighter, but Braehmer just schooled him. That was like a complete domination, total domination. Total ass whooping, man. Brant's just not, he wasn't ready. And I wasn't impressed with his skills. It wasn't like, cause sometimes even if a guy's not ready, you could see the skills. I wasn't impressed with the dude's skills. And that's all I have to say, guys. If you watched the whole video, I appreciate it. Please subscribe. Please hit that like button. Please, let me know what you guys think of this fight. And McGregor out.